Hello, my name is Roshan Narayan, and thank you for joining us on In20. If you're watching us on YouTube,
pumping balls before the session. I was taking
whatever I gonna do,
It's a special edition for In20 focusing on local athletes, Malaysian superstars, Malaysian heroes. And joining us today is a regular on the show, Wern, all the way from lovely Penang. I hope it's not raining there, Wern. All okay? It looks nice and calm. Has it been raining?
It has a little bit, but we're not impacted as bad as KL and a few other states. I mean, I've seen the pictures and everything, and it's sad to see the state that we are in at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've been helping out a few friends do some good, and it's an eye opener. And hopefully, things that need to be done right will be done by the relevant people in charge. And that's all we can say. We're not into politics; we're into sports. First and foremost, the last time you were here on the show, you were talking to me about this ACL of yours, which wasn't there. It was just this little thread. You did an MRI, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, it's not there anymore. You had to go in for a surgery. You got it done. You came out. You were getting back into action. You're getting better as we speak. If you follow, we went on our Instagram. You can see you in the pool doing the joggy, the shimmy, shimmy, shake. Getting better, I believe. I hope you're getting better.
I am. The recovery is there. I'm doing the full rehab. I'm following the whole program, doing as much as I can to get back on court as soon as possible with the best possible result as well.
And in order to get better, you need the right coaching staff, your physio. So they're always there beside you, making sure you're recovering.
I'm very fortunate in that sense where I have a really good support team with me. Obviously, my coach and my physio that has been with me for many, many years. And I think we'll dwell more into it at a later phase of this interview. But yeah, I'm very fortunate to have these people who is willing to stick by me regardless what has happened and what has just happened as well. So yeah.
I'm fortunate to call you a friend. So at times you do share stuff with me, which doesn't go out into the media. Like say, for example, when we first started to get each other, and I was quite inquisitive in how Malaysian athletes operate. I know quite well how football operates and how footballers get treated. But when I had this website called Fourth Official, all I wanted to do was bring out the truth and try and show support to the local athletes, financially especially, that they get the backing they deserve. And I was shocked when you said, yes, you do get help, financial aid, but there's also a big chunk where you need to go find your own sponsors in order to enhance your career and become one of the best players in squash globally.
Yes, that is very true. For us squash players, I can't speak for other sports, but as for squash, our prize money is not big. So if we were to use just the prize winnings, it will not be enough to actually cover the expenses of even going for the tournament. So it doesn't really make sense to actually participate in the tournament when you're losing money going there and playing for the country. So yes, we need a lot of private sponsors. And like I said, I'm quite lucky in a sense where I've had that in the past, and I still have good sponsors that are willing to stick by me regardless of what has happened. But financially, it's not the most lucrative sport in the country. And so yes, we need to seek all the financial support we can get, which is not easy, especially at this point in time, which I can't blame anyone. It's been tough for everybody, and I'm not just saying the people in sports, but people in general, even the companies as well. Everybody is struggling to a certain extent. So I guess it's times like this where we all have to sort of pull together and see how we can help each other one way or another.
I respect that decision, but at the end of the day, I'll get to my question. But before I forget, did you personally have to go look for these sponsors, or did you have a team that supported you, an agent or somebody like that, or you had to knock on the door personally?
I'm like I said early on in my career. The good thing is that I'm a fairly established squash player in the country, so I do have my name is out there a little bit more. I'm a bit more recognized. Like it or not, squash. I think there's only about the 4 of us in Malaysia, or 5 of us, that actually has private sponsors. The rest of the players don't even have a single private sponsor. So yeah, so I mean, it is a sad state, and these people are training day in, day out. We are relying on what I would call government allowance in that sense for us, for our monthly incomes, and that's about it. So without private sponsors, as much as you love the sport, as much as you want to do it for the country, it's just not a very viable option, I would say.
So if I was, there's no chance I'll be ever a professional athlete in anything, because the amount I eat, especially brownies, it's unbelievable. But if I were to be an athlete, not as good as you, but I'm trying to get into it financially, I cannot possibly live off the financial assistance given to me by the governing bodies. I have to look for private sponsors, correct?
Yes, definitely. Yes, for sure.
So if you're really young, if you're like 19, 20, and you're really bursting onto the scene, right? You really need a lot of education on how you go about this. I mean, I always say relevant bodies because we don't want to get sued. We can be talking about the planet Jupiter because that's a body, a heavenly body. But is there anybody to give them advice? Tell them, listen, you need to do this. You need to do this. This is the best thing you need to do for yourself.
It is very difficult, and like I said, it's a cruel world out there to begin with. But what I've done is I've actually proven to a lot of people and actually opened the doors for a lot of Malaysians to show them that, hey, look, you can actually do professional squash being in the country itself. Because prior to what I've done, no other squash player has done it being in the country on a small budget to prove it to the world that we can be top 10 players in the world. So what I've done is I actually opened the doors for a lot of local, not just players, but local coaches as well. There's an avenue for them to see that, hey, we are good enough. We don't need to go overseas just to make sure that you can be someone in the world. So I've done that to a certain extent. And I've sort of opened the doors for the younger players to see that. But unfortunately, that has now sort of come to an end.
Yep. No, I'm shocked you're saying this because, I mean, for me, I can't believe that as an athlete, you have to, I mean, okay, fine, there might be some special cases that as an athlete, you have to go abroad to get better. What's wrong with the facilities here? What's wrong with the coaches? It should be top end if you want people to go to the Olympics, if you want people to go to the World Cup. Your facilities have to be grade A. Your coaching staff has to be grade A. So if for you to say that you've done it for so long, why wouldn't somebody else want to take up that mantle? Or is it just that difficult when you go like, oh, man, you know what? If I'm going to go abroad, I can get something better. To hell with this. I'll go make my life easier.
Yes, that is definitely a way to go. And the other thing is that also a lot of people nowadays, as for squash players, we do get offered to go overseas a lot, just for education as well. Like I said, I was offered really good scholarships when I was younger as well, but I decided to say no and stay back and play for the country. And when I decided to do so as well, I was actually told to leave the country because no one in the country is good enough to make me reach the heights that I wanted to go. No one believed that I could do it to hit top 10 in the world if I stayed back in Malaysia. Yep. So it was a long road, and my coach and I, and now with my physio as well, I mean, we had to prove everyone wrong right from the start of my career,
I mean, that's quite shocking and heartbreaking because, I don't think people here understand that prospect. You were top 10 in the world. What do you think? There was 20 players in the world, is it? No, there's millions globally playing this sport, and you were top 10. Yes, we were blessed with Dato' Nigel David. He was number one for eons, who still doesn't get the respect she deserves. There's a male athlete here who played badminton who gets a lot more respect, even though she was number one 8 years in a row. The sport didn't go to the Olympics. Fine, I understand that. But for her and for you to be up there, it's ridiculous. And it's this typical, sorry, I'm getting personal. It's this typical Asian mentality. Hey, number 5, why not number 2? Why not number 3? Why not number 1? Do you at times get angry with the people when you say that I was top 10 in the world? And you're like,
Yeah, it's like, I mean, obviously with what Nicole has achieved is remarkable. And to have someone to go close to that, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's not something you get every single day. So for me to actually hit top 10 and then top 5 as well, being only the second person in the country who has done that. And still, yet we are put in a position where we have no say whatsoever. And that is actually, I would say, a sad state of where the sports is in the country at the moment.
Do you feel betrayed that you skipped out on the scholarships to go abroad? You worked your way through multiple injuries. You had to find your own sponsors. You make it to the top 10, and this rubbish is thrown at your face.
Yes, like I said, first of all, there's no point being bitter about it because it's.
I can be bitter for you. Please, by all means, go ahead. You be politically correct. I'm not.
Yes, it's done and dusted now. There is no. I mean, had we had this discussion early on, I would have been open. I understand there are budget cuts and things like that, and I would have been open if you sat down with me, telling me that, hey, look, we've supported you over the years, and right now we are down to a budget cut. So what are your plans are and things like that. But what has happened is, I'm sure you have seen it as well, is that I have been dropped from the podium program with zero discussion whatsoever after how many years I've spent representing the country, with basically left in the lurch when I'm still actually through my recovery at this point in time. I'm going through the rehab. And one thing I'm not sure whether...
So you're paying for your own rehab. You're paying for your own rehab as of now.
Yes, because as of 1st of January, I'm no longer part of the national program. So I mean, I'm talking on behalf of myself, but the other athletes who are actually living in Bukit Jalil, they are all asked to pack their bags and leave and go home. And you're basically, thank you very much, you're out the door.
What? So the kids, right? They're quite young, right? Relatively young.
I mean, we have quite a few players that have been dropped. Some are younger, some are older. I mean, one of the bigger names that have been dropped as well is some of the divers. The diver that has been dropped as well, former world champion, dropped without notice. So all of us, I mean, basically we're left in the dark, and they didn't even call actually. But I mean, I got a message from the SRAM, our national association, saying that, I'm sorry, we've done your best for you, but the National Sports Council has decided to drop you off the program next year. So you're basically on your own.
Okay, so I'm from the outside looking in, so I know how the broadcast industry works. It can be very cold, it's very professional. And to be fair to these agencies as well, you've mentioned that there were like budget cuts. That comes from a bigger place, and that's a bigger problem. And all of a sudden they've been like, oh my God, we only have this much. What do we do? So they've gone and made a decision that's in the best interest, God willingly, for sports for Malaysia, correct? So what you're saying is perhaps it could have been just a phone call saying, listen, we weren't, this has happened, thank you for your service. What can we do to maybe make things better for the next generation? Something like that would have made it easier for you to take when
definitely,
they are set,
definitely, I would have accepted it. I've obviously know that there will be a time where I have to walk away from the sport. No one's going to play the sport forever, but just the fact that you've spent how many years playing for the country, and also, like you said, going through the surgeries. I mean, financially is one thing, but going through the physical work and the mentally as well, going through all this just to be able to play again, and to not even get a phone call or something saying that, look, we are running our budget, so we need to decide what we're going to do. And you're next online, and maybe we can get you through rehab before you're deciding what you want to do whatsoever. But no, nothing came.
So you're just one athlete that was, oh my God, imagine for anybody watching, you've gone through a surgery, maybe it's just a little MCL tear or some little surgery, and then suddenly insurance says, hey, oops, it's not going to work for you. That's reality, correct, for an athlete? In your case and all these other younger athletes, like imagine you've got a scholarship, you're in university, and all of a sudden it's gone. Hey, pack your bags and ciao, bro. It's over. That is ridiculous. It's harsh. I wish there could be more clarity from these people who made the decision. But is there any hope in terms of you might be getting an answer, or you are now, you've accepted the fact that, listen, it's the end for me here? Which is heartbreaking.
It is to a certain extent, but like I said, before we came to this conclusion, when I was told that there is a chance that this might happen, which was actually in, I would say, early December, I did actually speak to SRAM, asking them to get me a meeting with the National Sports Council, because I would like to have at least a word in, because they have concluded that due to injury, there's the reason why they're deciding to cut me off. But then again, I have not seen a single doctor since my surgery. No one has asked me about my progress. So basically, you made a conclusion without even having checked up on me and see how my progress is. So, which is, I think, not the great precedent that you're setting at this point in time.
So this is premeditated. Simply put, they knew. It's actually quite. I mean, I'm not trying to take your side. I'm not trying to take anybody. I'm trying to remain as neutral as I can. But it is really heartbreaking to hear these stories. So if it now you, God willingly, you have the financial ability to somehow make sure that your recovery is taken care of, and you can somehow progress forward. Now imagine there's a young and up-and-coming athlete, correct, and they're injured, he or she is injured, and if they're pulled from this project, that means their budget for whatever recovery is gone. They're not have to start paying for their own. Oh my God, that's That's
Yeah.
bad shape.
And the thing is that we athletes, it's not like we chose to get injured, and it's not like, let's say I go for a big night out and I fell down the stairs and got injured, then you decide to drop me from then on. Fair enough. It was my own responsibility that I actually did something silly. But if you actually put your body on the line day in, day out, training, competing, and doing something for the country, it's not, I think it's something that should be looked after at least.
Correct. You mentioned this early on. I forgot about it. I'm bringing it up. Yeah, you're an athlete. You're a squash player, but it's a business for you at the end of the day. When I say business, like you had to go find your own sponsors. You've gotten some sort of financial backing in order to go represent the country internationally. And at times, I know this for a fact that you sent yourself out there rather than being can I say that? Instead of being sent there, you went on your own accord. I remember I bumped into you in the middle of Dubai. We were on a flight together and you were off to Hull, if I remember correct.
Yes. Yeah? Yeah, I remember seeing that for, yeah.
Correct. And I was going to go cover the Premier League. It's been done badly. If you could advise these people, what would you just tell them?
Well, I think it's very important how you set the precedents, and what they have done now actually does not bode well for the future. Not just squash, but I'm talking about athletes in general. Because as a parent, like you are, Roshan, I mean, if you have your kid growing up who wants to have a career in sports, and if you see this happening to a former top 5, top 10 player in the country who has done so much for the country, just being dropped off with no word, no warning whatsoever, that doesn't bode well for the future of sports.
Not sports, it's humanity as well. And at the end, sports is really, really important because it does bring people together. It's a fantastic form of earning a living. And some people don't want to be lawyers. Some people don't want to be engineers. They would like to be squash players, footballers, hopefully TV hosts. I mean, if you were in Singapore on English TV shows, I would definitely say yes, keep going with it. But over here, it's a bit limited. Do you think, and I know this is completely out of your spectrum, and you don't need to answer this, do you think there's too much emphasis on football with lack of results on the international stage, and that money can be diverted elsewhere?
I think football is still considered one of the national sports in the country. Results-wise, yes, they may not have shown the results as promised, probably numerous times, as I can say. But I've known some people in football as well, like some of the coaches. I've spoken to them before, and they are also shocked at the amount of money that the rest of the sports are getting, and what we are being paid is peanuts compared to what the footballers are earning. So yeah, I've had this conversation with Dr. Ong Kim Sui before in the past, and he was actually having a laugh at me, thinking, "Are you really doing all this so much and you're earning this much? Is that it? Why are you playing squash?" So he said it himself. He said, "Is this the best that you are getting?" And he's shocked because as footballers, when they go for practice, they have everything sorted out for them. You go to your locker room, you have your kid, you have everything sorted out for you. And for us as professional squash players, I book my own flights, I book my own hotels, I decide which tournament I'm going to go. I have to, like I said, do all the planning on my own. You book your flights, decide when you want to go, book your own hotel, pay everything in advance, and then come back, and then we move on from there.
Would you say that, are you done with representing Malaysia? Has this incident really just stuck a knife in your heart, and you're like, you know what, perhaps I should go elsewhere and make more money?
What I've done is what I've decided along with my team, which is my coach and my physio. The good thing is that I still have the support of my state, Penang. So logically, I'm not supposed to use the facilities of the National Sports Institute anymore now that I'm without a contract. But in Penang, they are willing to support me still. So I still have my training facility, my coach and physio, which will be unpaid or has started being unpaid from the country already from the beginning of the 1st of December. They are still willing to put their time to spend with me to get me back to full recovery. And we have decided that I will play professionally again for one more year, for this year at least, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So it's no longer more about I don't have anything to prove to SRAM or NSG or anyone anymore. I've done it over and over again. So I'm playing this time. It's just basically for the people who still believe in me, and to just show them for one more time that, hey, look, I'm still here regardless of what what everything has happened, and I deserve to at least call it time on my own terms after all I've done.
It's quite shocking because I didn't realize that, when you said when these people are pulled out of the program, they lose that access to the finances. I completely forgot that you have to pay your coaches, you have to pay your physios, and now their source of income has gone as well.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh, this is a bit ugly. I did not know that. Chances are a lot of the viewers or even your fans wouldn't know that. So Penang is supporting you. The state is supporting you, correct?
Yes, Penang State is still supporting me in terms of I can still use the facilities. I can still train as per normal. I can use the squash center. My coach and physio, they're all based here as well. So that's a good thing. They will be unpaid from the National Sports Council to help me get me back to at least to a fitness level again. So they will not be paid, but they're willing to still, still show up day in, day out with me. Like I said, what we have done so far is because I'm a local athlete and being based in the country, the amount of money I've actually spent is very, very little compared to having foreign coaches and things like that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they have been paid a very minimal fee to sort of coach me, and like I said, my physio, he earns, if I put this on TV, he earns 1,000 ringgit from the National Sports Council. So to work 5 days a week, yes. You want to put it out there, we can put it out there, but yes.
What is he, living on fruits and water or what for a month? What?
He is a vegetarian, by the way, but that's besides the point.
1K, not bad. What is he, living in a hut on a tree or something? Not bad. You got some love, bro, for the sport. My God, that is such an eye opener. Jesus.
Yeah, so
sorry, but carry on.
I'm saying that I'm not incurring a lot of expenses here, I mean, yes, surgery-wise, it may have is a big sum, but then again, the National Sports Council contributed to the full sum, but I still have to pay out my own money for the surgery as well. It's not like it's fully taken care of, that I don't have to worry.
I personally have seen what you've gone through. So my question to you is, why did you put yourself through all of this for all these years? Why?
Well, actually, like I said before, early on, when I decided to do my second or third surgery at that point in time, because I still had goals to achieve, and I still wanted to. At that point in time, it comes to a point where it's no longer just about me. It's no longer about my goals, but like the people who has believed in me, my coach, my physio, my family, my friends, fans, sponsors. They have still believed in me despite what has happened, and I've made a successful comeback in the past. So, and what happened this time around was that I actually sat down with SRAM and NSC saying that, look, I need to go through this last surgery for me to be back in time for the Commonwealth and Asian Games. Had they said that, okay, look, we'll support you one last time to have your surgery done, but we have decided not to renew your contract anymore from next year. And if you're upfront with me about it, then at least I can make the decision whether I still want to go through with the surgery. Because, I mean, financial things aside, as the pain of going through a surgery, the mental part of it, the physical part of it as well is another thing. So had you actually said that, look, we'll support you one last time, but we will not continue you for next year, then it's up to me to decide whether I want to go through another surgery. Because if I want to go through a sedentary life, do I need another surgery?
So that was a bit unfair to you. Well put. I should have asked you this question at the very start, or perhaps it's good that I'm going to ask you this question now because you've everything you've gone through. What did it feel like to represent Malaysia?
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why we do this day in and day out, why athletes put their body on the line every single day in training, in competitions, because, one thing that we do and we do it well is when you do well for the country, for Malaysia, you see the whole country just sort of being back into one again. Sports, like you say, it unites the whole nation, regardless of whatever sports it is, but you just have the whole nation behind you, and it's something, and it's a feeling that it's very fulfilling in a sense.
That's beautiful. What was it like when you walked out and you whenever you won a competition and the flag was up there? What was that feeling like when you look back and it was there, the anthem played?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I miss, and that's the reason why I'm still going through all this, despite what has happened in the past. And another beautiful thing about Malaysians is that wherever I am competing in the world, whether it's US, UK, Dubai, anywhere in the world, the good thing is you actually have Malaysians living in those countries coming to support you. And it's such a beautiful feeling. Like, I mean, I've played tournaments in the Cayman Islands, for example, and you have this group of a Malaysian family just coming up, and the last thing you expect to see in Cayman Islands is a group of Malaysian family, and they come with chicken rice and local food, and just like, it's just an amazing feeling. Like, Malaysians are just the best. Like, you know, when we are together, it's just it's remarkable. You know, that feeling wherever you are in the world. Like, even if I played in the US, and you have the university students showing up for your matches, they're just Malaysians who've probably not even heard of the sport, but they know that a Malaysian is there representing the country, and they just make time. They come in groups to support our own players, and that, like I said, that's a beautiful thing.
That is a beautiful thing. So, as you mentioned, there'll be a time when you decide to call it quits. It happens with any athlete out there in the world. Would you see yourself as a coach, Coach Lowy Wern? Would you be in America with a friend of yours there? I forgot his name.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to a point where I would have to start looking at opportunities, and like I said, I would have wanted this to end in a I would say a better, more professional way than what it unfortunately has become. But I'm still representing Malaysia professionally for another year. I may not be on the national team, but I will still play the professional circuit, and from there on, I will look at opportunities and see what comes my way.
Would you know who I'm talking about? Who's in America coaching? Can you just drop his name?
Yeah. Yes, of course. I've been speaking to him as well. Ong Beng Hee, a very famous Malaysian squash player as well, who is now the head coach of the United States of America. He's had his fair share as well, serving the country and not being given the recognition that he deserves, even when he decided to actually coach for Malaysia. So there were still people that doubted him at that point in time, saying that he's not good enough to be a head coach in Malaysia. So he's gone off to do his own thing, became the head coach of Qatar, and now is the head coach of the United States of America. So I guess it can't get much bigger than that for him.
So would you see yourself doing that as well? Coaching national teams, hopefully the Malaysian national team. Anywhere else?
There's a possibility. There's a big possibility of that. Like I said, I've always represented Malaysia to the best of my ability for I don't know how many years now, ever since I decided to go pro. Yeah, so like it's just sad to see how this has come to an end and how the national athletes are being treated when they're done and dusted, in a sense.
But here's the most important thing, I'm not saying this as a friend. I'm saying this just as a professional TV host. I used to be retired. Let's not talk about that. The one thing I will tell you this is, no matter what's going on right now, whoever's made this decision will never be known and will never ever say or can say this about themselves, that they were number 5 in the world representing the country on a global stage. That is what you did. All they do is just talk and then act like a fool. You are the champion, Wern, and I respect you for that, and I thank you for representing the country. Thank you for putting in another year. Thank you to your physio on a 1K budget, yeah, who's surviving somewhere, God knows where in Penang. On behalf of everyone here on In20 and even the country, thank you so much, Wern. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And when you do become a coach, please hire me. I'm very good at PR. You know, if you ever need any advice, just let me know. I'm there, just a phone call away. Okay?
I may look at acting as the TV host, actually. So if you have any vacancies in the future.
The record world is yours on In20. I am saying it right now. It is for you. Wern, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for your time. Thank you.
All right. Remember all the talking points on our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook page. Till the next time. Bye-bye.